It was a quiet night in many parts of the world. People slept in their homes, unaware that something extraordinary was about to happen. In observatories and research centers, scientists worked late, monitoring the sky with telescopes and radios, listening to signals that had traveled millions of light years. They had been doing this for decades, hoping to find some proof that humanity was not alone in the universe. Most nights, they heard nothing unusual, just the regular noise of space, empty and silent. But this night was different. At first, the signal seemed like static. It was faint, broken, and almost like the hiss of a radio between stations. The equipment picked it up for just a few seconds and then it disappeared. The computers tried to record it, but it was hard to make sense of it. Many scientists ignored it, thinking it was a glitch or interference from Earth itself. But one researcher, a young woman named Lena, noticed something strange. She was looking at the patterns on her monitor, and her eyes widened. There was order in the chaos. Something about the pattern repeated over and over, like a hidden message trying to get through. Lena called her colleagues, pointing to the screen. At first, they were skeptical. "It's just random noise," one of the senior scientists said. But the more they looked, the more they realized she was right. The signal had structure. It followed patterns that could not happen naturally. Numbers, sequences, and symbols appeared, like someone was trying to communicate. The room became tense and excited. They knew that if this was truly an intelligent signal, it could be the most important discovery in human history. The team quickly checked every possible source on Earth that could have caused the signal. Satellites, airplanes, even secret military transmissions. Nothing matched. The signal was coming from far beyond the solar system, from the vast darkness of space. As the news spread through the scientific community, other observatories confirmed it. The signal was real. It was coming from somewhere far away. But no, one knew exactly where. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, astronomers were receiving the same signal. They, too, were puzzled. They had never seen anything like it before. Some were cautious, warning against jumping to conclusions. It could still be a natural phenomenon, one scientist suggested. Space is full of strange things: pulsars, quasars, magnetic fields. They can all create unusual patterns. But others argued that no known natural event could produce such regular sequences of numbers and symbols. The debate was intense, but the excitement was greater. Humanity was on the edge of a discovery that could change everything. Unknown to all of them, the signal was not meant for Earth at all. In a distant galaxy, a civilization far older and more advanced than humanity had been trying to communicate with one of its colonies. Their message was intended for another planet many light years away, but an error in the targeting system sent it slightly off course. Earth, by chance, received the message. From their perspective, this was a routine communication. From humanity's perspective, it was a mystery waiting to be solved. As the world watched, the news spread beyond the scientific community. People were curious, excited, and afraid at the same time. Television stations ran special programs explaining what a signal from space could mean. Newspapers printed bold headlines, "Are we alone?" and "The universe is calling." Children asked their parents questions that had never seemed so real. Are there aliens? Some adults laughed nervously, but deep down everyone felt the thrill of possibility. Humanity had always looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. Now, for the first time, it seemed the universe had answered. Lena and her team worked day and night analyzing the signal. They wrote down sequences, compared them, and tried to find patterns. Slowly, they realized that the numbers and symbols were too organized to be random. They began to suspect that the signal was a form of communication, a language built on mathematics and logic. It was as if someone or something had reached across the darkness of space and was trying to talk to them. The idea of intelligent life beyond Earth was no longer just a theory. It was a real possibility. Governments became involved, sending top scientists to collaborate. The United Nations held emergency meetings to discuss the implications. How should humanity respond? Could this signal be a warning? Or was it simply a mistake, a harmless attempt at contact? No one knew for sure, and the uncertainty added to the tension. Despite the fear, there was also hope. Humanity had always dreamed of reaching the stars, of meeting life beyond Earth. Now it seemed the stars had reached back. The scientists realized that this signal, whether accidental or intentional, could unite people across the planet. For once borders, politics, and disagreements seemed small compared to the vast mystery unfolding above. Days turned into weeks as the scientists continued their work. They built new equipment, ran tests, and double-checked their findings. Each day brought new surprises. The signal contained layers of information, repeated patterns, mathematical constants, even representations of distant stars. It was clear that whoever sent the message was highly intelligent and had advanced technology. Humanity was only beginning to understand the scale of what they were seeing. Even ordinary people felt the impact. Night after night, more people looked up at the sky, wondering about the beings sending the message. Schools held lessons about astronomy and space exploration. Children drew pictures of aliens and spacecraft. Families gathered on rooftops and fields, gazing at the stars, imagining the lives of beings far away. The signal had awakened a curiosity that had been in the human spirit for centuries. And so what began as a faint, almost forgotten hiss in a radio telescope became the first true connection between Earth and the wider universe. The accidental signal had opened a door, one that humanity did not yet fully understand but was eager to explore. Scientists and ordinary people alike felt a sense of destiny. Something extraordinary was happening, something that could change the way humanity saw itself forever. Lena often stayed late in the observatory, staring at the data and thinking about the possibilities. Was this just a mistake from another civilization? Or was it a deliberate call meant to test humanity's readiness for contact? She did not have the answers, but she felt a deep sense of purpose. Humanity had answered the universe, even if it had not realized it yet. And the world for the first time was listening in awe. The discovery of the signal had sent waves of excitement and fear across the world. Governments, scientists, and ordinary people were all aware that something extraordinary was happening. The question now was not just whether the signal was real, but what to do about it. How should humanity respond to a message from the stars? The answers were not easy, and debates began almost immediately. The United Nations quickly formed a special committee, bringing together the brightest minds from around the world. Scientists, mathematicians, linguists, and engineers were all invited. The committee's goal was clear: decode the signal and decide whether humanity should respond. Meetings were held in secure rooms with high-level discussions about the potential, risks, and benefits. Some experts warned that responding could be dangerous. What if the senders were not friendly? Others argued that the signal represented the greatest opportunity in human history: to learn, to grow, and to make contact with life beyond Earth. Meanwhile, comma teams of scientists continued to analyze the signal itself. They discovered that it was more complex than anyone had imagined. It was not just a series of numbers or simple codes. It contained layers of information. Star maps, patterns, and symbols were embedded within it, almost like a puzzle. The scientists spent hours trying to interpret each part. Every small breakthrough felt like opening a door to another world. One of the first patterns they noticed was mathematical in nature. Prime numbers, sequences of pi, and other constants were repeated in ways that showed intelligence. It was a universal language, a way to communicate without words. At the same time, the media had picked up the story. News channels ran special programs explaining the discovery. Newspapers were filled with interviews from scientists, illustrations of the signals, and speculation about what it all meant. Ordinary people were fascinated. School children asked questions that had never seemed so real, such as whether aliens looked like humans or something completely different. Families gathered around their televisions, imagining worlds far beyond Earth. For the first time, the stars seemed close enough to touch, if only in their dreams. The committee realized that decoding the signal was only the first step. They had to decide whether humanity should reply. The debate was heated. Some argued for caution. "We don't know what we are dealing with," one scientist said. The wrong message could provoke a threat or misunderstanding. Others felt that silence was a lost opportunity. We have a chance to show the universe who we are, another argued. We could demonstrate that humanity is intelligent, curious, and peaceful. We cannot let fear hold us back. After weeks of discussion, a plan began to take shape. The committee decided that a reply should be sent, but it had to be careful. It could not reveal dangerous information, such as advanced military technology, but it could share knowledge about Earth, humanity, and our desire for peace. Engineers and mathematicians worked together to create a message that could be understood across the vast distances of space. They used mathematics as a common language and included images representing the Earth, humans, and the solar system. Music, art, and stories were included, showing the creativity of human culture. It was a message designed not just to communicate, but to build trust. As the message was prepared, the world waited with anticipation. People from all walks of life were aware that humanity was about to speak into the cosmos. The feeling was both thrilling and humbling. Scientists broadcast the message using the world's most powerful radio telescopes, sending it across the galaxy at the speed of light. Weeks passed, and every signal, every echo, was carefully monitored. The wait was tense. Some feared that no reply would ever come. Others were confident that sooner or later they would hear back. Finally, a response arrived. It was unlike anything humanity had expected. The aliens had received the message, and at first were surprised. They explained that they had intended to contact another civilization in a distant galaxy, but a targeting error had caused the signal to reach Earth instead. Despite the mistake, they were curious and decided to continue communication. This unexpected interaction marked the first real exchange between humans and an extraterrestrial intelligence. The impact on humanity was immediate. People around the world celebrated. Scientists were praised for their work, and governments acknowledged the importance of cooperation. The realization that humans were not alone in the universe changed perspectives. Conflicts seemed smaller, and differences between nations appeared less significant. For the first time, humanity faced a challenge that required unity rather than division. Schools began teaching lessons about the stars, space, and the newly discovered signal. Curiosity and wonder spread like wildfire. In the scientific community, research accelerated. Teams worked tirelessly to understand the alien communication. They discovered that the signal contained advanced mathematics, star maps, and even instructions for creating simple machines. While some of the technology was far beyond human capability, it offered glimpses of what could be possible. The world watched as these breakthroughs were carefully studied, ensuring that knowledge was used responsibly. The exchange of information was slow, deliberate, and cautious. But every day brought new discoveries. People outside the scientific world were also affected. Art, literature, and culture began to reflect humanity's new reality. Stories about the signal appeared in books and films. Music inspired by the stars became popular. Children drew pictures of spaceships and distant planets. Even ordinary conversations included speculation about what the aliens looked like and how they lived. The signal had become a part of daily life, a reminder that humans were part of something much larger than Earth itself. As communication continued, humanity learned important lessons about patience, cooperation, and curiosity. The signal, initially an accident, had opened doors that no one had imagined. It showed that the universe was full of possibilities, and that intelligence could exist in forms far beyond human understanding. Most importantly, it taught humanity to approach the unknown with both caution and courage. By the end of the year, it was clear that the world had changed. Governments were working together more closely than ever before. Scientists collaborated across borders. People everywhere had a renewed sense of purpose. The accidental signal had reminded humanity of its potential and its responsibility. It was no longer just a dream to look at the stars. It was a real connection to something beyond Earth, something waiting to teach and inspire. And through it all, the message remained clear. Communication, understanding, and curiosity were the Yao keys to progress. Humanity had answered a call from the stars, and the response had shown that even when the universe made a mistake, the results could be extraordinary. The world waited, hoping, imagining, and preparing for the next exchange, knowing that the accidental contact had already changed history in ways no one could have predicted. Humanity's first reply to the signal marked the beginning of a new chapter in history. For the first time, humans were reaching out into the cosmos, sending a message not to explore, but to connect. The message was crafted with great care, filled with mathematics, images of Earth, and symbols showing life, culture, and peace. Scientists worked day and night, refining each part to ensure that it could be understood by beings whose minds were likely very different from humans. It was a delicate task. One mistake, one misunderstood symbol could send the wrong impression. When the message was finally broadcast, it was sent from the most powerful radio telescopes on Earth. People around the world watched the signal depart into the void, imagining it traveling across light years of empty space. There was excitement, but also anxiety. Scientists wondered whether the alien recipients would understand the intent behind the message. Would they recognize the peace and curiosity that humanity wished to convey? Or would they interpret it in a way that humans could never anticipate? Days passed, then weeks, then months. Humanity waited for a reply. Each day brought new speculation, debates, and hope. Scientists monitored the signals constantly, analyzing every faint echo for signs of response. Governments discussed the possibilities. Should the world prepare for the worst? Should nations collaborate to plan for first contact? Or should humanity simply wait and continue learning about the message they had already received? Then, finally, a response arrived. It was not immediate, not a simple hello, but a complex set of signals and patterns far more advanced than humanity had imagined. The aliens had received the message, and at first were surprised. Earth had not been the intended recipient. The signal had been an accidental delivery, a wrong number in the vast network of interstellar communications. Yet they were curious. Instead of ignoring the error, they decided to continue the conversation. Humanity, in turn, found itself part of an interstellar dialogue that had never been expected. The first exchange was cautious. The aliens did not reveal everything about themselves or their civilization. Instead, they responded with simple patterns. Mathematical symbols and images of distant stars and planets. The scientists on Earth carefully studied each signal, decoding the sequences and trying to understand their meaning. It was like learning a new language from scratch, one that was completely alien to the human mind. The process was slow, requiring patience, collaboration, and careful reasoning. Despite the challenges, humanity was thrilled. For the first time, humans had proof that intelligent life existed beyond their planet, and that it was willing to communicate. People across the globe celebrated, and schools, universities, and research centers became places of learning about this new reality. Children drew pictures of the alien beings and imagined life on other worlds. Families gathered to watch the stars at night, hoping to feel a connection to the distant communicators. The signal, though still mysterious, had captured the imagination of the entire planet. The interaction also brought new challenges. Scientists debated what to share and what to keep secret. The aliens' technology and understanding of the universe far surpassed that of humanity, and there was concern that certain knowledge could be dangerous if misunderstood or misused. The committee decided to proceed slowly, sharing information in measured amounts, focusing first on mathematics, culture, and peaceful concepts. Humanity wanted to prove that it was a responsible, intelligent species, worthy of the trust and curiosity shown by the alien communicators. As the weeks passed, patterns began to emerge. The aliens showed evidence of advanced technology, ways of manipulating energy and matter that humans had only dreamed of. They shared star maps, showing planets and systems far beyond the Milky Way. Humanity responded with images of Earth's landscapes, animals, humans, and cultural achievements. Music and art were transmitted, allowing the aliens to experience the creativity of human life. It was a two-way exchange, cautious but rich, and humanity was learning to navigate it with care and curiosity. The global impact was profound. People everywhere began to see themselves not just as citizens of individual nations, but as part of a larger unified species. Borders and conflicts seemed smaller in comparison to the vastness of space and the reality of intelligent life beyond Earth. Governments collaborated more closely, sharing scientific research and creating programs to educate the public about the ongoing contact. Humanity was beginning to realize that this dialogue could change the very way people thought about themselves and their place in the universe. In classrooms and universities, lessons about space, communication, and the alien signals became standard. Students learned how the universe was interconnected and how even small errors, like a misdirected signal, could lead to extraordinary discoveries. Researchers published papers on decoding techniques, mathematics, and theoretical physics, inspired by the signals they were receiving. Humanity was learning at a rate that had never been seen before, all because of a communication that had started by accident. Even as excitement grew, caution remained. Scientists and world leaders carefully monitored every exchange, aware that misunderstanding could have consequences. Humanity's first reply had been a careful, thoughtful effort, and every subsequent message continued in the same spirit. The aliens, it seemed, appreciated the care with which humans communicated. They responded in kind, sending patterns that reflected both curiosity and patience. The dialogue was not just about exchanging information, it was a test of understanding. Respect and readiness. The process also inspired creativity beyond science. Writers, artists, and musicians created works imagining the beings sending the signals, their worlds, and the potential for friendship and collaboration. Movies, books, and music festivals celebrated humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. People felt pride in their species and a renewed sense of hope for the future. Humanity was no longer just a small planet in a vast galaxy. It was a part of a network of intelligent beings, connected across unimaginable distances. Even ordinary life was touched. People looked at the night sky with new wonder, feeling the faint but profound connection to beings who had reached out to them. Public discussions, debates, and community events focused on the stars and the possibilities they represented. Humanity had begun to think in terms of centuries rather than years, of planetary survival and unity rather than short-term conflicts. The accidental signal had become a mirror, reflecting humanity's potential, its intelligence, and its capacity for connection. By the end of the first year of direct exchange, it was clear that humanity had entered a new era. The aliens, initially surprised by the wrong number, had chosen to continue the dialogue, and humanity had proven that it could listen, learn, and respond with intelligence and care. The universe, once distant and mysterious, was beginning to feel closer, more accessible, and full of possibility. The first reply had been the key, opening the door to knowledge, friendship, and a future that no human could have imagined just a few years before. Humanity now knew that communication could cross the vast distances of space, that mistakes could lead to opportunity, and that curiosity, courage, and care were essential to exploring the unknown. The first reply was not just a message sent, it was the beginning of a relationship, one that would grow, evolve, and transform the destiny of Earth forever. The exchange between humanity and the alien civilization grew deeper with each passing year. What had begun as a cautious conversation gradually developed into a rich dialogue, full of knowledge, culture, and ideas. The aliens, curious and intelligent, shared information about their technology, sciences, and ways of understanding the universe. Humans, in return, shared their art, music, literature, and stories, giving the aliens a glimpse into the creativity and spirit of life on Earth. This two-way communication was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced. Scientists around the world worked tirelessly to decode the more complex signals. They discovered methods of energy generation far beyond human capability, ideas about travel faster than light, and theories of physics that stretched imagination. Every discovery sparked excitement and debate. Could humans safely understand and apply these technologies? Could they use them to solve problems on Earth, such as hunger, disease, and climate challenges. The potential was enormous, but it required caution, discipline, and wisdom. Meanwhile, humanity began to change in subtle but profound ways. The realization that intelligent life existed beyond Earth transformed the way people thought about themselves and their place in the universe. Borders and conflicts seemed smaller, and cooperation became more appealing. International collaborations expanded as nations realized that showing unity and intelligence to an extraterrestrial civilization was a matter of global pride. Humanity began to see itself not as divided by countries, politics, or religion, but as one species living on a fragile, beautiful planet. Education transformed as well. Schools and universities introduced new programs inspired by the alien knowledge. Students studied mathematics, physics, astronomy, and language in ways that connected directly to the interstellar messages. Young people became fascinated by the possibilities of space, communication, and discovery. Many dreamed of traveling among the stars, exploring distant worlds, or contributing to humanity's growing understanding of the universe. This inspiration motivated a generation to think beyond daily life and aim for achievements previously considered impossible. At the same time, artists, musicians, and writers found themselves energized by the dialogue. Music festivals incorporated patterns from the alien messages. Visual artists experimented with shapes and colors inspired by the distant civilizations. Writers created stories imagining the lives of the beings sending the signals, their worlds, and their societies. These creative endeavors helped humanity process the vast and sometimes overwhelming reality of being part of a larger cosmic network. Culture became richer, more inclusive, and more imaginative. The aliens, for their part, were also fascinated by humans. They asked questions about emotions, creativity, history, and the struggles of life on Earth. They seemed particularly interested in human resilience, the ability to learn from mistakes, and the drive to create despite limitations. This curiosity created a bond of understanding, as humans realized that intelligence and curiosity were valued across the universe. Even mistakes, like the accidental signal, became a bridge rather than a problem. Despite the excitement, challenges arose. Not all humans were comfortable with the rapid flow of alien knowledge. Some feared that technology beyond humanity's understanding could be dangerous. Others worried that too much reliance on alien ideas could weaken human innovation and independence. Leaders and scientists worked carefully to balance progress with caution. They decided to focus first on knowledge that could improve life on Earth safely, such as medical techniques, energy solutions, and environmental technologies. Even small advances had profound impacts, improving millions of lives across the globe. Healthcare, for example, saw incredible improvements. Diseases that had once been fatal became treatable. Techniques for clean water, air purification, and renewable energy spread to every corner of the planet. Poverty and hunger began to decline as energy became more accessible and sustainable. The alien knowledge did not solve every problem, but it accelerated humanity's ability to create a healthier, more stable world. People everywhere began to feel a sense of hope and optimism that had been missing for generations. The exchange also strengthened global unity. Nations that had once been at odds began to cooperate on scientific, technological, and cultural projects. Space agencies joined forces to build observatories, communication systems, and research centers. Universities collaborated on decoding alien messages, and students participated in worldwide competitions and projects. Humanity learned to work together on a scale never before seen, understanding that the universe required cooperation, not division. Cultural understanding deepened as well. Humanity had always been diverse with countless languages, religions, and traditions. The alien dialogue emphasized the importance of sharing and understanding differences. Humans learned that curiosity and respect could overcome fear, and that collaboration led to more meaningful discoveries than competition or conflict. Children grew up with stories of the signal, the reply, and the ongoing exchange, understanding that their species was connected to something much larger than their planet. And yet, the dialogue remained grounded in humility. Humanity realized that despite all the knowledge being shared, The universe was vast, complex, and filled with mysteries beyond comprehension. The aliens themselves reminded humans that learning was a lifelong process, and that curiosity, patience, and care were more important than speed. The relationship became one of mutual respect, with humans eager to learn and aliens eager to understand humanity's creativity and spirit. By the end of this period, humanity had changed profoundly. The accidental signal that had begun it all had transformed civilization. People looked at the stars not as empty space but as neighbors, friends, and teachers. The Earth was seen as a single home for a species capable of intelligence, creativity, and connection. Humanity had learned to value knowledge, curiosity, and unity more than power, conflict, or fear. In the years that followed, the exchanges continued, with each message adding layers to understanding. Humans shared their stories, music, art, and science, while the aliens provided guidance, inspiration, and knowledge. The accidental signal had created a partnership that enriched both civilizations. It was a relationship built on communication, trust, and the shared pursuit of knowledge. Humanity was no longer alone, and the lessons learned from this connection would shape generations to come. The world had begun to understand that intelligence was not just about technology or science. It was also about empathy, curiosity, and collaboration. The alien dialogue had taught humanity to dream bigger, work together, and think beyond the limitations of the planet. Even ordinary people felt the impact, as life became more meaningful, and the stars seemed closer than ever before. The accidental signal had not just brought knowledge, it had brought purpose, hope, and a vision of a brighter, unified future.